It's my feel-good breakfast show.
The COVID-19 crisis has amplified so many of the challenges facing South Africa: extreme poverty, literally starvation, entire communities marginalized, and children most at risk, bearing the brunt of that suffering. But I think the surge we are seeing to address these issues, the partnerships that are being formed, the stories of inspiration that are being revealed are giving us a chance to rewrite the South African narrative. And a couple who are doing everything in their power, it seems, to guide that script also just happen to be one of our most loved, and they join us right now to catch up and shed light on the work of their foundation. Welcome our World Cup winning Springbok captain Rachel Kolisi and Rachel Kolisi, the founders, very proud founders, I would imagine, of the Kolisi Foundation. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
It's so good to connect with you guys. I would say to see your faces, but we've seen a lot of your faces recently. I don't even have to ask actually how you're doing, because you've both been so good in keeping connected through your social media platforms over the last few months. So thank you for that on behalf of all the fans. Take me back to the beginning. Whose idea was it to start the foundation, and how did it actually come into being?
Well, I don't think it was anyone's specific idea. I think, Sia, when we talk about the foundation, when we talk about the foundation, we always say that it's both of our hearts in one project. And honestly, if you take us all the way back to when we were friends, something that I was very attracted to see about was just his heart for people and his heart for giving back. Oh. And at the World Cup, the day after the final, we actually kind of discussed what we wanted to do in South Africa. So we felt a huge amount of responsibility after winning the World Cup and knew that we wanted to give back to South Africa.
Maybe you guys can give us a quick run through, because I know you've got a lot of feathers in that bow. But how many projects do you have running under the foundation? And maybe you can run us through a couple of the major projects that stand out.
Yeah. So at the moment, we started off with helping the frontline workers, which obviously the doctors in the hospitals. We worked with East Referral Hospital, Khayelitsha Hospital, and Livingston Hospital in PE. We donated PPE and some sanitizer. And then, we spoke to some of the medical staff, and they said the one thing that they need the most is obviously keeping people at home. They said they were fine at the hospital at the time, so we started the feeding scheme. So we started going around South Africa. I think right now we've done over 16,000 kilometers since COVID-19 started, driving around the provinces. And I don't know how many people we've fed now during this time. It's quite
close to 60,000 now.
Sure.
It's just us as a foundation. There's the Each One Feed one with the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the Boomer Foundation. It's a whole lot another. There's so many more people who've done it with their partnership. And that's what we've been doing so far. Obviously, after COVID-19, we have other plans. We had plans before COVID-19 to start out with the school project and renovating my school in the township in PE. But obviously that had to be put on pause. And then we started helping with COVID-19. It's really been amazing to see how people have been willing to help and work together, even though sometimes they're competing brands. But This time, this is a fight for everybody.
It's one thing launching an initiative like this, another actually having to go into the community, start making emotional connections within that community, and that, I think, is where it really comes to bear. What is the reality like on the ground floor in those communities where you guys have now built these relationships?
Well, Sia mentioned some of the projects that we're busy with, but also we've been working with, of course, young Brian, the 17-year-old boy who was shot in the head when he was 3 years old. With him and his family, we're busy with a really exciting renovation at their house, which we can't wait to show everyone once we're done with that. And then, of course, Graceful Grace is a project that has been very close to my heart that I've been working on as well. And she takes in women that are a product of gender-based violence and also young children that also, the stories are very sad, but she really just does so much in her community. And then, of course, we're helping a refugee camp in Cape Town as well with over 700 occupants that are currently there. over 200 children. And I think that, you know, in each community, no matter what the need is, there's always a story. And, you know, one thing that kind of always comes up on social media is people kind of, why are you posting pictures? Like, why are you telling the stories? And if you go into the communities, a lot of people, for the first time, they feel like they're being heard and their stories are being told. And they love to share their stories. We love hearing the stories, and they're always different. A lot of them are sad, but there's a lot of good stories as well. And just one thing that always remains the same is people are just so grateful for help. So I just believe that super important that everybody in South Africa, you know, if we all do just a little bit, I really believe that there'll be a massive change in South Africa.
And maybe you guys are becoming the tipping point for that. You've achieved literally a staggering amount. Do you think you would have been able to achieve this if we hadn't all gone through this shared COVID, this lockdown experience?
Well, you never know, but I really think with the partners we're working with, you know, I mean, all the stuff that we're helping with have been there before COVID-19. But maybe some of the opposition brand working together wouldn't have happened, but it has happened, and I'm hoping that it continues even after COVID-19, because people are still going to struggle afterwards. Yeah. And that's something that we need to make sure that we're prepared for, and we need to find sustainable ways for people to keep, to look after themselves, because we can't keep on, people don't want handouts, you know. That's what we're trying to do now. We're working with Wilderness Foundation. We are working on supplying seeds to people so we can encourage them to farm, and especially places around game reserve, game reserve parks, and then that they plant. We find a field for them, they plant, and then the hotels or the restaurants around that area buy that from the community, so the wealth keeps on being generated and people can look after themselves. Everybody talks about my story, how amazing it is. I really don't think it's that great. It's actually not good, because it's not good for a child to go through what I get to go through to make it. And there's so many other stories. It's time for us to be sharing stories that a kid in the township made it through the township, getting Model C school education in the township. Like, kids need to have a choice. They don't have to be taken out. Because I think if I had a choice, if I had the same school, Gray was in the township and Gray was in the suburbs, I would have stayed in the township, because I love the environment, I love the people, and kids in the township deserve to see role models in the same area around them, because now we get taken out, and who do they look up to?
For sure, don't just develop the child, develop the area, develop their reality. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to continue this discussion. Sia, Rachel, just so awesome to have you in our space and to be sharing this with you. And thankfully, they're going to be sticking around so that we can find a little bit more about what the future holds for the foundation. And of course, chat a little bit of rugby as we continue to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the 1995 Rugby World Cup. But in the interim, you can go to Kolisi Foundation.org. You can go and donate. I've tried it. It is so simple. You can do it. And you can also go and find a cause or a project that you want to back. Go and do that now.